Hey, what's up? This is Aliens here. Whether you're looking to pick up new sneakers or not, I always think it's fun having a look through the overall sneaker landscape, seeing what's available these days, what's not. Lots of retailers at the moment are discounting stuff, so it seems like a better chance than any to get some cool new sneakers at a decent price, or maybe some fun new collabs or something that are sitting around currently, where maybe at any other time in normal circumstances, they would have sold out immediately. I also just like checking out some of the new colors and models and collabs that are coming out, so we're going to be making a list of some of the best and some of the absolutely tragic examples of that. But how are we going to make a list? Of course, it's gotta be ShopTagger, who are kindly the paid sponsors of this video. And for the uninitiated, it's pretty easy to get everything set up and running, but here is how it works. You've got to download yourself a browser extension, so it integrates with Google Chrome, for example. You just got to install that by clicking a couple of yeses, waiting a couple of seconds, and then you're pretty much all ready to go. Now, most of the time this will be lying dormant, but on your favorite retailer, it's time for ShopTagger to strike. And you can use the button to save things that you like in your preferred color and size. That doesn't just keep them in one handy place, but it means if the price drops or if you've saved something out of stock that comes back, you can be alerted automatically, either via email if you have the app installed, or via super speedy push notification. You can put things into dedicated lists as well, so for this video, of course, there's going to be a specific list, but it's just another way of helping you plan your shopping or your future purchases a little bit more effectively. You can also use ShopTagger to view and apply coupon codes for sites, so give that a go and you might end up saving some extra cash on checkout for free. Unfortunately, no money off acronym.com yet, but we can only hope and pray. There's going to be a link in the description to check this stuff out if you want to. As you guys might know, I've used this for loads of different lists already, so I certainly think it has something of value to offer. But anyway, let's check out some of these cool sneakers. First up, the Reebok and Mountain Research Alien Stomper. These came out a couple of days ago now to celebrate Alien Day, and although of course they don't quite have the retro appeal as the exact replicas of the ones worn in the film, they're probably the best iteration of the Alien Stomper. I really like the clean all-white colorway combined with that undeniably retro look. That toe strap over there, very reminiscent of like a spacesuit boot or something. Absolutely steeped in 80s design. It's basically a retro-futuristic version of the workout highs, which were super popular back in their original release. The safety text motifs that are on this and the "I've never been to the moon" text on the back are all quite fun inclusions, and it's a nice little nod to Alien in a much more subtle way than in previous years where they've had the like big danger stripes across it or whatever. Yeah, certainly an improvement on that. People ask about Nike ISPA shoes quite a lot because of that obviously technical design, and while a lot of the time I feel like this product line misses the mark due to basically overcomplicating things, the ISPA Joyride envelope is potentially the best thing to come of this line yet. Less ISPA branding, less unnecessary detailing, it's just letting that futuristic shape of the shoe speak for itself. And I think in fact the graphics are actually quite nice and fairly tasteful on this, and certainly on the black version I do think they add something. The perforations over the forefoot also suggest some kind of breathability, although I don't know how comfortable these actually are, nor how supportive that strap is going to be, which seems to be the only method of really securing your foot in this shoe. But nonetheless, potentially an upward trend from ISPA, which I'm really desperate to see because I think it is a product line with a lot of potential, but yeah, not quite realised that yet. Now for an absolutely tragic one, and that's the Adidas 0-60 Pharrell Williams collab. These look absolutely awful. They're like a knockoff Jordan with like Yeezy Wave Runner stuff stuck on the side, and then it looks like you stepped in modelling clay or something after that. And all of those things combined, of course, with this absolutely ridiculous use of colour, so many different mismatched elements all over the place, it is just too much in every possible way. If this wasn't a Pharrell shoe, it would be straight in the bargain bin, and to be honest, a lot of his shoes recently have been hitting the sales anyway, so I really feel like it's time to stop doubling down on putting all the mismatched colours together. Just refocus on doing something else. You can still have fun, colourful shoes, don't get me wrong, but this ain't it. The Asics and Chemist Creations collab came out at the tail end of last year, and I feel like this sold out back then, but now I've seen it available at 1 or 2 retailers, and it's specifically the Fuji Trabuco, which was the more practical of the 2 shapes, the other being the Gel Kyono 5, which is still out of stock everywhere, so maybe that was a little bit more popular, I don't know. Chemist Creations is like a more wearable sub-brand of C2H4 in a similar way to Polythene Optics being like a more streetwear version of a Cold Wall. Maybe this shoe is a bit practical looking, but I think it's an interesting variation on the Fuji Trabuco, and it's got something of a technical streetwear look as well, so I think a lot of people will find this fairly wearable. If you do like the idea of a more practical Asics collab, have a look at the GmbH Gel-Nandi 360. I can't think Nandi without preceding it with Omayo wa wo shinderu. Anyway, that supersized olive midsole is just what it needs to stop it being a boring all black shoe. You've also got some kind of shiny elements on this as well, which differentiate it from the usual suede. Not 100% sure if that's my thing. I tend not to like shiny stuff too much. But that kind of finish is generally more weather resistant, and you could argue gives it a bit of a luxe finish compared to the regular. Isn't it funny the less involvement Yohji Yamamoto seems to have in Y3, the bigger his signature gets on all the products? But anyway, the, whatever this is called, the Y3 Star, something like that. The Y3 Yohji Star, that's the one. I've never really been a fan of superstars, and this I think is not a good implementation of that. That signature just looks really grotesque because of the size of it. And that off-white colouring just kind of misses the mark for me. It just seems not quite right, especially with the white stripes on the side. It's just, yeah. Nothing about this is good for me. Really missing the old Y3 stuff, which was far more futuristic sportswear. I feel like if you go back 4 or 5 years, you would never have had a shoe like this come out. It's just too normal. There's nothing of the Y3 edge. There's nothing that really makes this different. In fact, because all this branding is so big, it just makes it look like you're trying to show off, except luxury sneakers now are probably like double the price of this, so who exactly are you showing off to? Antwon and Salomon are 2 brands known for great performance gear, so fusion of the 2 should in theory be one of the coolest shoes to ever live, right? And yet I find myself a little bit disappointed by this fairly recent release. I have no doubt that this is a good shoe. I've had good experiences with Salomon so far, but I just feel like it's too safe. I feel like Antwon do some interesting stuff. They are a brand with cool potential, but I don't really feel like they added that much to this shoe beyond the Antwon branding. The reflective detailing is cool, but you're not going to see that a lot of the time. And they kind of picked a bit of a middle-of-the-road model as well, and a bit of a middle-of-the-road grey colour. Yeah, I just would have liked to have seen more, be that more interesting colours, or yeah, some kind of different model that's got a bit more going on to it. I would just want to see a bit more value added from that Antwon branding. So this is one of those things that I would definitely keep an eye out for. And if it ends up in the sale, so it kind of goes down to a similar price as other Salomon shoes, then yeah, definitely worth picking up. But I just not really sure if it's worth paying the premium. On the other hand, I thought the most recent Salomon BBS Bambas to release were very cool, especially the grey dyed version. Bamba 1s, Bamba 5s, 2s, 3s, all the Bambas. And it's with great pleasure that I have to announce that I actually picked up a pair of BBS Bambas finally, thanks to Formera over on Reddit, who sent me a link to a pair that was in my size, US 12, which they seem to make very, very few of in any colour and any model, but I got a grey pair of Bamba 5s, which were like my favourite ones, so I'm very happy with that, and they're definitely going to be in some videos very soon. Reebok and Tom & Jerry Instapumps. Fire! There are quite a lot of new Instapumps actually. It seems like Reebok is actively trying to make them cool, and that's always something that makes me a bit wary and a bit suspicious. But I thought the trail version of the Instapump was kind of cool. Brings it, well, it makes it a bit more kind of trail ready looking, I suppose. It's a bit more ruggedized, and yeah, that kind of appeals to me. The Shroud version, on the other hand, is absolutely disgusting. If you're gonna like do something like this to make your shoe more waterproof, then just put pool shoes on or something. The other one I want to call out is the Instapump Fury R58 Kenzo Miyami. No relation to Kenzo the brand, but at first glance, of course, this is an absolutely outrageous version of this shoe. But it kind of reminds me of like the acronym Vapor Max or the Cavent Air Max 95s. Just something that has so much crazy pattern energy all over it. Very head-turning of of course, and if you've got the swag and the wardrobe to pull something off like this, then definitely going to turn heads. And it's kind of an unexpected and a relatively under the radar collab as well. So you'll probably end up with something that not a lot of other people have. On a similar wave, I suppose, is the Asics Gel Kirill Kiko Kostadinov collab. There's been a lot of different Kiko Asics. I do not think these are the best ones. I'm not a fan. They look like wacky jester shoes. They look, I don't know, they look like a level in Sonic 2 or something. So these are not really hitting the mark for me, but there are some cool Kiko shoes back in the archive. So I'd have a look back at some of those older things. And as a designer, Kiko Kostadinov has certainly been increasing his profile over the last couple of years. So it's definitely something worth checking out in general. Lots of cool technical designs and pieces as well. So yeah, there's some cool stuff. If you're not familiar with him, then definitely check them out. Yeezy slides on the working from home flex. You don't need me to tell you about these. They're basically like fashion Crocs. They look super ugly, but I bet they're really comfortable. And yeah, they're a bit of fun, I suppose. And they're also not that expensive. So, I mean, if you need something for wearing around the house and no one's going to see you, then you could do worse than these, I suppose. I think they have some kind of appeal on how silly they look. They look a bit like a toy or something. They look fun to like hold and squish. And finally, the Rick Owens Maximal Runner. These originally came out last year, I think, basically taking the oblique or a kind of similar shoe to that and thinking, what if this shoe but laces everywhere? Some people, of course, thought these were a little bit too much. Well, they've come up with the solution, and there's a brand new Maximal Runner for you to enjoy. These are like when you've got a ballerina class at 5 and you've got BDSM at 6. It's covering all bases. I can't even hate on these because anyone with the conviction to drop £800 on these is either insane or a genius, and probably both. Anyway, with some stuff like this, it's just great that it exists, but do you have to buy it? Probably not. Those were some of my favorites, or my not favorites, I suppose. I think the sneaker release schedule has definitely been hit a little bit, what with current events. It's not, you know, there's not as much fire stuff going around for me, but I thought there were still some cool things that were worth talking about anyway. If you think I missed anything though that's come out recently that you've been a massive fan of, any cool pickups that you've got, then definitely share them down in the comments. And of course, equally, anything that's totally disgusting that I didn't talk about, then name and shame down there in the comments, I suppose. But thank you so much for watching and making it here. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like because it's super appreciated. And as always, we will be back next week with another video.